This is awesome. I'm so happy to see all you guys on here right now. I know it's 7 a.m. my time, which is like early for me. And I see Allie too. She's Arizona. But seeing your faces on here, seeing your names on here means that you guys are committed to your business. So I am super excited to see everyone that is on this call right now. And to everyone too that listens to the recording, thank you guys for taking the time to listen to these team calls, because I truly think it is important to hop on here and learn from us. We've been doing this just for a long time. That's the only difference. It's not that we're better or anything like that. It's just that we've been doing this longer. So we've learned along the way. We've learned a lot of stuff. So I'm super excited to have all of you guys on this call. And Kirsten and I have been absolutely loving Instagram, and that's where a lot of our business is coming from. So we wanted to do a team call about it. I know we've been talking about it a lot, but we just want to dive in about it because it's honestly been my favorite platform so far with coaching. Like, I absolutely love it, and I finally feel like I'm finding a lot of people who are like me, which is exactly what I've wanted since I started coaching. Like, I've wanted to work with people who are like me so that, you have stuff in common, you like these people, and your job is even better when you're working with people who are like you. Kirsten, anything to add to that?
I just think that we have such a cool opportunity when it comes to Instagram. Personally, I don't find Jen, can you
Yeah, I'm going to mute it all right now. So you have to unmute yourself.
Okay, that's better. Perfect. I think that it's really important to get comfortable with using new forms of social media because we see trends, we see phases, and we can't be so one-dimensional. And if you've noticed on Facebook, and I read an article last night that was really interesting, it was about how Facebook is trying to get back to its roots with it being for individuals. And whereas pages aren't going to be popping up in your feed. I personally don't really use my page on Facebook to grow my business. I just wasn't seeing the results from it, right? So why kick a dead horse? Why keep going back there? Because if it's not working for you, move on, try something different. And what, like Jen said, we've been having a success with Instagram. So every day I'm YouTubing like Instagram tips, Instagram hacks, how to rock Instagram, not from Beachbody even, just anyone. Anywhere I can learn about Instagram, I do it. And one of my biggest tips I want to give you is update your app often because there's always changes. Like if you see people using certain fonts and different like GIFs in their stories, it's because they've updated their app. So make sure that your app is up to date and current so that you have the ability to do those things. And know that some features are only available if you have a certain amount of followers. So, for example, the ability to swipe up an order or swipe up and have a link present in your story, you have to have 10,000 followers before you can do that. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but that's one of the reasons for that. But there's always changes to Instagram, and I feel like we're going to be seeing that more and more because they're realizing that people are making that shift from Facebook to Instagram. And lots of people I meet on there say, oh, I actually don't even have Facebook. Like, oh, okay. They just don't find it useful. It's just not for them. So, and Jen, I'll add one more thing before I pass back to you. But if you notice on your homepage, or if you go to your search and explore page, if you were to search something, you'll notice that oddly, it's a lot of things that you already look at. For me, when I go to that page, I see a lot of engagement rings. I see a lot of wedding dresses. I see a lot of things like that. So Instagram is now has an algorithm that is showing you what you want to see or your friends have liked. So that's kind of how that's working. So if you find that you're getting a lot of Beachbody coaches and you're like, why is that? You're probably searching a lot of Beachbody coaches and hashtagging. So maybe just change the content that the user content that you're putting on there, whether it's your hashtags or what you're searching, because Instagram is giving you what it thinks you want. So for me, for example, I always try and use the hashtag dental hygienist. 2018 bride, which is tricky because sometimes you get a lot of commercial stuff like just business accounts. But on the odd chance, I'll get, an actual 2018 bride, or look up Sask bride, do something specific to you outside of the fitness world. And that's how I found a lot of my challengers these last couple months. But I'll give it back to Jen for a minute here.
Okay. Yeah. So basically we're just going to talk about different tips. So if you guys watched Jatana's Instagram video that she just made, honestly, like a couple weeks ago, because she even talked about how the GIFs are up there now. But anyways, I'm going to go over it because it's super, super important. First off, when you go to your page, I'm not sure if you can see on my phone, but just like your home screen. So when you're making your description about yourself, I highly recommend, number one, don't put Beachbody Coach in there. There's way too many people that put Beachbody Coach, and then right away someone might see that and be like, oh, just another one of those coaches. So make sure to put like a description that describes you. You can do like health and wellness coach, just something that's a little bit different than Beachbody Coach. Also make sure not to put like your link right in there or something like that. Just kind of use some descriptions to describe you. So people, when they look at that, they're only going to look at it for like 2 seconds, but they'll get, a little idea what they're going to see on your page. And then also, I think, does everyone have the link? Yeah, because it's a website link. So I use Linktree, and I'm pretty sure Kirsten does too. But I have that at the bottom. I don't know how well you can see this. Probably can't. Oh, maybe now you can. But at the bottom it has Linktree. So basically that has all my links for like signing up as a coach, joining our challenge group, connecting with me on Facebook. Actually, I could see what's on there. But basically it just has all of your links. So then on your story, you can show them exactly where they can go to get into your challenge group. Or if you're talking about coaching, you can have a link in there to your Facebook group event page, or you can have a link in there that is for the coaching application. But make sure that you have that Linktree. It's really, really convenient actually to have that. And yeah, just make sure that your page, when someone comes to it, that it's kind of eye-catching, that you have, a good profile picture on there. I would say make sure that it's your face, or like from kind of your waist up, so that they can see you. And yeah, and also now, well, this is kind of diving into something else too, but they also have highlights now. So I encourage you guys to do the highlights. If you've seen that on the bottom there, the circles, it's super easy to add the little cover on there. You just add a picture to your story. And for me, I made mine on WordSwag. So I just picked a pink background, and then I just put the titles of the different highlights. So I have 80-day journey, I have workouts, I have just keep pushing gear, I have DJ Baby Bruce, coach life, results, wife life, and forever home. And honestly, you probably don't even need that many, but just definitely have a couple there. And then add it to your regular story. And then on there, you're going to highlight it, put it in your highlights. I hope this is making sense. And then when you go back to your main screen, you can hold your finger on the highlights, and it'll say edit highlight. So you click edit highlight, and then you click edit cover. And then since you've added that picture to your highlights, you can pick that as your cover photo. And then you just click done. So for one day, it will be on your personal story. That's what I kind of wondered when I did it. I was like, can I add this to my story and then delete it? I think it's kind of weird to just have like a bunch of these, but I just kind of made a post at first. I said like updating my highlights, check them out on my page. And then I put all of those pink backgrounds, cover photos. And so people click through them, so they kind of know what you're doing actually. So it's not a bad thing to have that. And stories disappear in 24 hours, but those cover photos will stay on your page. And that kind of makes your page look pretty and like all together. And so for me, I use pink because that's kind of my color scheme that I want to go to. So whatever is kind of your theme, or like a color you love, something that pops out, stands out, definitely take some time to do that. Honestly, it took me like 5 minutes to do it. It did not take long at all. And also on WordSwag, when you do it, when you first go into that app, if you don't have that app, make sure you download WordSwag. It's awesome. So you just pick a background color. So I picked pink. Scroll down. And then you can pick the size so that it's Instagram size. So it's the second one is the Instagram size. So it's the correct sizing, just to be particular. And then crop it. And then you can just write on it. Write whatever the name is of your highlight, Coach Life, 80-day journey, whatever you want to write. And just make several of those so that you can update those highlights there. So I hope that that makes sense. If you guys have questions or need me to clarify or anything, just write in the comments here, or when we're done, just ask again and I can totally go over that. But also that video that Jatana did, she was sharing her screen. So you can see exactly how she did it as well. Kirsten, anything to add to that?
I was just going to say the nice thing about highlights is it adds some permanence to your stories. Now that we're putting a little bit more effort into them with your text and with your, sometimes I'm even editing photos before I upload them to my stories now, because I'm just trying to level up a little bit. And it's like, it's nice that you can save that in a way that people can view it later rather than just 24 hours. Because it's like, dang, I put a lot of work into that. I want that to stick around for a while. So it's just nice because I find the people that are, rocking Instagram all have this. So I probably should too. That's kind of my thought behind it. I literally just text Jen one day. I'm like, hey, I saw you did that. Like, tell me how. And she told me, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing it. And like 2 of them don't even have any info on them yet, but eventually they will. And I think that it's really important for visual aesthetics not to have just like a paragraph of what you do. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather it be like bullet points of what you do and what you're about and what your Instagram can offer, because I find that if it's just a mushy paragraph, that looks more like a personal account, if that makes sense. So what I did is I actually just Googled Instagram bio spacing, and there was like an ad or like a little like website that helped me with that spacing, and it was super, super easy. But Googling that will give you exactly what you need, or you can, I believe, write it in your notes and copy and paste it, and it should give you the same orientation. And then one of the other things I wanted to talk about in your story, it's okay to talk in your story. It's okay to put workout videos, but you can't do 30 in a row of each, if that makes sense, because people are going to lose interest. If you're talking and talking and talking and talking and talking for like 8 posts, people are probably going to be like, I am not going to watch the rest of this because now I'm bored. But it's okay to do a handful of them and share what your thoughts are, but keep it short and concise. Polls are another thing. I feel like people get bored. So a poll is nice because people feel like they're engaging with you. So oftentimes I try and do a poll once a day if I can. I know Jen will do ones like, hey, who worked out today? And people look forward to that accountability, even if they're not in her groups or anything. They know that they can tune into Jen's stories, so they know that they worked out. But what I like to do, so the other day I said I'm wanting to do an email newsletter. And if you guys listen to Lindsay Stay and, I forget the other girl's name. That's awful. I want to say Emily, but I don't think that's it. They're yes, that's right. And their Bombshell Dynasty call that we posted in our downlines. And it was so, so good. And she was talking about how email is super important and getting emails from people. So I'm wanting to do a newsletter. So I thought, hey, this is a great way to interact with my audience. So I said, who would be interested in getting a monthly newsletter from me? And all these people messaged me. So what I did is I typed up a little sentence and then I copy and pasted it to the people that said they would be. And so what it was, I said something like, thank you so much for taking my poll. That's super helpful. What would you like to hear from me if I was to put out a newsletter? And then I copy and pasted that to all those people who said yes. And a lot of them were like, hey girl, I'd love to hear X, Y, and Z. Now, this is really good because I was able to make connections with people on a very, very authentic way, and in a way that's, you know, I'm not trying to make a sale whatsoever, but I'm trying to get to know my audience. And they were saying, oh, I want to hear this from you. I want to hear that from you. And then I said, thank you so much for the feedback. And they're like, oh, it's crazy that you're actually responding to this, like fangirl moment. I'm like, of course I'm responding to you. Like, thank you for your feedback. So then I know now those people that said they wanted to be in my newsletter, I got feedback from what they actually want to hear from me, which isn't at all what I thought they'd want to hear. And then from there, I know that I'll make a post down the road saying the same thing. And then when I'm actually ready to launch it, I'll start collecting emails and probably have a link in my link tree for an email collector. But there's so much we can do for growth in our business. It's wild. And then even Virginia and I are planning on doing a sneak peek this month, which I hope you all are in the habit of doing at least a bi-monthly or monthly, a monthly or like every couple of months sneak peek for your challengers or for your audience. And I said to Jen, I said, I have a tactic, I have a plan. So what I did yesterday was say, I really want to talk about money. I want to talk about money, but I'm nervous to do it. And I was asking feedback from my audience. What do you guys think? Are you comfortable with me sharing that? Or should I do it in a group? What should I do? And a lot of people were saying, yeah, like I want to know this information, but I think it'd be great if you delivered it in a private group for the people that want to know that information. So I'm setting them up for a sneak peek. Does that make sense? You're almost breadcrumbing in your story about, I want to do this, I want to do that. And then this upcoming week, I'm going to focus a lot on, you know, the blessing that I have to work part-time and how, you know, when we start having a family, I have the option. And I'll say, I kind of want to talk about that, but it's kind of weird talking about work live. So that by the time I say, hey, you guys, I'm going to do a group, a tell-all group, kind of about income, about how I do this, who'd be interested. So by then they're all ready. They're like, hey, yeah, that's a great idea. You're going to share all that information you've been talking about. I'm ready to dive in. So it's kind of good to have a bit of a strategy when it comes to your Instagram story or what you share on social media, rather than just like, okay, well, it's Monday and in a week from now I'm going to host a sneak peek, so I better start advertising. Have a bit of a strategy to it and how you deliver that message and create that curiosity so people want to be a part of it. Rather than you having to like go around and be like, hey, you want to come in? Hey, you want to learn? They're coming to you because you've already built up that curiosity. I'll pass it back to Jen here for a few minutes. You're muted.
Honestly, Instagram stories is epic and amazing. So yes, I do polls all the time, you guys, and make sure that you do polls about like random stuff, like anything. I do the workout one every single day because so I just was doing it on my own. And then when I went to Canada, I think I said this the other team call, but I thought it was so funny that when I went to Canada and I didn't work out for 4 days, I actually had a couple people message me like, hey, like, have you not been working out? I miss seeing your poll that I can click it. You know, it's like accountability for me, and it makes me feel good when I click yes. I was like, oh, that's really good to know. So now I'd make sure to do it every single day. And the more you do it, the more people click on it. Because when I first started, I didn't have that many people watching stories. And I didn't have that many people clicking on the polls, but just the more and more that you use your stories, the more you pop up in people's feed. And then the more you pop up in their feed, the more chances of them clicking your story. And then as soon as they start watching your story, you're going to go to the beginning of their funnel of their story. So they're going to see your face every single day. And usually they're going to click it. So make sure to use your stories, have variety on there, have funny stuff on there. People love watching funny stuff. If you're just like, good morning, everyone, hi. Like, don't be like monotone, try and be excited. And I know lots of times I'm super chill person, and I watched my story the other day. I was like, woo, I need to like tone it down. I was so excited, and I was like yelling at my story. And I was like, okay, that's a little extreme, but like, that's good. They would rather see energy than someone like super, super chill and laid back. I mean, if it's 4 a.m, you could do like, good morning, everyone, and then take your energize and be like, good morning, everyone. Like, make sure that you like do silly stuff and different things to make you. And that's why I've loved Instagram, you guys. Facebook, I went live, but it made me so nervous. On Instagram stories, I feel like I can be myself. And like for people who are introverts, it's 15 seconds. And if you don't like it, delete it. Just do a different clip. Like Like literally, you have no excuses. You should be sharing, I would say at least like 15 clips a day, at least, minimum. Like, and people always say, what do you share? Anything. If you have a kid, if you have a cat, if you have a dog, like people love seeing that stuff. When you get a grocery haul, if you go get your hair done, if you go get your nails done, if you go out to eat somewhere, if you go get a coffee, if you are driving and see a pretty sunset, like literally the list just goes on and on and on of stuff that you can share. So another tip that I just started doing this really, and Tana shared this in her video, so if you watched her video, you're probably like, oh, I heard this, but now it's actually time to do it. So on your stories, you can put hashtags. You can either do it from the stickers, you can put one hashtag, and then just when you're writing, you can put hashtags. So I put hashtags, not on every single story because it does get kind of time consuming. I think the max is 10 that you can do with the actual typing. So if I do a post and I really want a lot of people to see it, if I'm talking about accepting new coaches, I'm going to use hashtags. And what you do to make it so it's not like boom, 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 a whole bunch of hashtags is you can make that so small. Just swipe in and make it super, super tiny, drag it down to the corner, and no one will even know that it's there. But you're going to pop up in the stories, and now you can actually follow stories. So I think that's just going to get bigger and bigger. That kind of is a new thing that you can follow different hashtags. I know I'm following like Fitness Journey and ADD Obsession, and I need to look for some more to follow, but then you'll pop up in people's feeds. So I think that will become more and more common. So make sure that if you do an Instagram story that you want a lot of people to see, put 10 hashtags on there. It's quick. Just think of some different ones, pull it down to the corner and put it on there. And then also put a location. And it doesn't have to be where you are. I know some people get freaked out. They're like, I don't want to put where I am. That's fine. Put London, UK. Put somewhere random, like a big location, Toronto, Ontario. And if you don't, and that's another thing, people are always like, I only know this many people. Instagram, you guys, you can build relationships with people from all over the US, Canada, the United Kingdom. Like put New York, put LA, put like Miami, put all these different places so that you can attract people from other cities, because that's really what you want. And I actually like working with people that I don't know, because I feel like sometimes they take me more seriously than people that already know me. They're like, oh, well, you used to eat chips and stuff all the time. How healthy are you now? Well, actually, I am quite healthy and I take my health serious. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what I mean? Sometimes it's almost better to work with people that you don't know at all. And yeah, but I know this is lots of tips, so I hope you guys are writing them down, but seriously, they are working for us. So I really, really encourage you guys to just dive into Instagram. Like it gets fun too. And I know I've had some coaches that were skeptical of using stories, and I'm like, girl, you have to use them. You have to. Like, it's super, super easy, especially for like moms. I know that sometimes on Facebook, you feel like you have to write a lengthy post and really put a lot of thought. And sometimes it takes a long time to put up a post on Facebook if you're trying to go in depth. At least for myself, sometimes it'll take half an hour to an hour just to think out a solid post. Versus Instagram stories literally takes 15 seconds to record something, add some text, add a little GIF, and upload it. Like, it's super, super easy. And I think that everyone on our team can do this. 15 a day, that's easy. Share your pre-workout, share a couple clips from your workout, share what you're eating, what you're doing, your family, your kids, your dogs. Like, just share it all, you guys. You're gonna find people who are like you that way. So dive into it.
Okay, so another thing I want to talk about is followers, okay? And people get really caught up in like, oh God, like I wish I had, 13,000 followers or, 67,000 followers. But you guys, you have to start somewhere. You can't expect your Instagram to have all those followers. If you're not posting the best content, if you're not even trying to reach out to new people. So what you have to do is reach out, follow people. If you want people to follow you, you got to follow them. That's how Instagram works. It's like Instagram etiquette, okay? I am going to be totally upfront and honest with you guys. For the last 6 months or so, I have been paying someone to do that for me, to follow people that I say, follow people who have said they're, dental hygienists, nurses, teachers, whatever the case may be, people I feel like I would relate to. 2018 brides, people that are hashtagging bridal stuff. But I could do that. I could easily do that myself. I could save myself $300 a month if I was to do it all on my own. But the key is you have to sit down and do it, right? So I think it's good to be honest with you guys that I do pay someone to do that part for me. I do the commenting, I do the engagement, I do all of that. I post all my own stuff. I just pay someone to follow people for me. Okay. But it's something that I did myself for a very long time and it worked just fine for me. But you have to reach out. And I know people get weird. They're like, oh, I don't know if I should follow this person. I followed people with public profiles. If they had a private profile, I didn't follow them myself. I followed people who had an open profile that I could see. A, because I want to make sure they're not a coach themselves. But B, I want to make sure that they're normal people and not like serial killers or something. So I was like, well, I don't want to send out a message or a request to follow someone that I have no reason to do that. Does that make sense? Like I don't know them. I don't know what they post. So they'd be like, why is this person following me? Right? So I started off by just following people with open profiles. You have to find your niche. Maybe that's moms of 3, boy mom, whatever it is for you, seek it out and find those people. And then once you get to a place in your business where you feel like, okay, I'm, making some money. It's time to reinvest into my business. That's kind of the decision that I made as, 4 years in, that I'm going to start reinvesting back into my business. And it has paid off for sure. But just know that the amount of followers you have does not directly reflect your income. A lot of people think that. And if you've watched any, National Wake Up Call or any training on Instagram, they'll tell you that there's a lot of people out there that, have 100,000 followers and they're making $30,000 a year. It's not, they don't correlate. So don't think that that's how it works. You have to put in the legwork. It's the conversations that happen behind the scenes with your followers. If you just have followers for the sake of being popular, you're not going to make money off of that, right? It's when you actually start engaging with the people you're following with. I'd rather you have 1,000 followers that you're actually, engaging with, building culture with, really communicating with, and have 100,000 and just feel like you're cool. I'd rather you have that. So quality over quantity. But there is a way to grow it, and that's following other people. And that's kind of goes back to the days of sending out a Facebook friend request and being super nervous. But Instagram is less personal. People get less uptight about follows on Instagram, because on Facebook, it was always such a like, oh, this is like my Facebook. How dare you ask to like be a part of my Facebook? You're just like invading my space. Whereas Instagram is designed to share. People want the public to see you. You wouldn't hashtag stuff. You wouldn't do that if you didn't want people to see it. Does that make sense? So make it your goal to follow like 10 to 15 new people every day. I don't necessarily send like, hey, like, thanks for following me message, but that's something you can work into your routine if you feel like that's beneficial. But making contact with your audience is important. In a message form, direct message them, slide into their DMs and make contact, because that's how you're going to build culture and build community. Jen, I'll toss it back to you.
And another thing I wanted to say, but I am kind of all over the place sometimes with polls. So when I put up a poll about 80-day obsession or a recipe or something, I guess Kirsten kind of touched on this before, make sure you actually message them. Like, a lot of people don't think that you will, but on your story, let's see if I have one up here. I do. So when you click the people at the bottom, you can see who's watching it, and then you click the number, and then you can see your voters. So I just want to make sure that you guys can see that. You can see who voted. Right now, I just message people when they want info about 80-day obsession, or I'll message them the recipe if they clicked on that. But I think with the people that are doing the workouts now, those are also people I can reach out to. And, if they're working out consistently, that might mean that they would be a great coach. So I'm definitely going to start reaching out to them. I'm going to try and find an example of what I say. I keep it really, really short and sweet because sometimes people click it by accident, which is totally fine. They're still creeping and watching you. So for this one example, this is exactly what I said to a girl that clicked on my poll. I said, "Hey girl, smiley face. I saw you clicked more info," so I put it in quotations, "more info please, from my poll on my Instagram story about doing 80-day obsession with me." I put the eyes emoji with the hearts and a muscle. I said, "Would you like me to send you some more details about it?" Another smiley face. Emoticons are key because I feel like just makes your message more friendly, and I feel like people appreciate the little smiley faces and stuff. And so this girl, I think she clicked it by accident, but she just said, "What is it?" So now we're talking about it. But basically just say, a couple sentences. And I think it's really key if you make sure you ask if they want more details before you just blast out, "Hey girl, this is 80-day obsession. This is what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah." Because that can be like overwhelming and they're like, "Whoa, I didn't even ask for that. Why'd she send me all of that?" So make sure that you send a little message with that was literally 3 sentences, and just ask if they want more details before you send it. And I've had girls that say, "Sorry, like I accidentally clicked your poll. I didn't mean to, but sure, like you could send me over the info." And I actually had a girl sign up from that, and I was like, "Oh, so that pays off me messaging those people on those polls." Even if you like see someone and you're like, "Pretty sure like she didn't mean to click this," I'll still message them because you just never know. You just never know who's interested. And I feel like too with 80-day obsession, it's very different. So say somebody said no in the past to Beachbody, they're like, "No, that's not for me." But 80-day obsession, there's some really awesome results, and there's some very different exercises, moves. They might be interested in this. This might be the time that they finally say yes to you. So make sure that you send a message. And I also think it is just a good thing for your business. They're like, "Oh wow, she's actually like responding. She's sending messages to me and she's being polite. She's not bombarding me." Because when I get added into a lip group, I swear, I'm like, "I am going to strangle this girl." And then she'll add me again. I'm like, "Girl, I'm about to block you and delete you." Like, this is why multi-level marketing gets a bad name, because people just add people to groups and it's so frustrating. So make sure that we uphold a standard of multi-level marketing and make it so it's not so icky and gross and salesy. And it's just genuine. It's you wanting to help people. And if they don't want help, that's fine. If someone says no, that's fine. That's somebody that you reached out to. You sprinkled, a little seed, and hopefully it'll grow over time, and then they'll want to join you eventually. But it's been like 38 minutes. Kirsten, do you have anything else to add here?
I was just going to say, I want you guys to do a bit of a gut check on your Instagram profile and just make those updates today. Don't say you're going to do it tomorrow. Do it today. Get that updated. Whether it be, the way your name is, what your handle is on Instagram, if you feel like it needs to be updated or changed in any way. I have Full Heart Wellness because I feel like that's going to become my brand. Some people choose to just use their name. There's no right or wrong answer there, but you have to keep consistency. So if you're going to use a business name, you better be hashtagging that a lot in your stories. And then almost creating a fan base where your challengers will start using that as well, if that makes sense. I also recommend using Linktree. You can write that down and Google that. It's where you can put a link in your Instagram profile so that it'll take you to multiple options, not just one page, okay? And then you're able to say, "Find me on Facebook, join my challenge group, join me as a coach, watch my story," and it'll send you to a YouTube video or whatever the case is. But you have to be available and provide content that people want to see, if that makes sense. And then also gut check, what do your first 6 photos look like? Your first 6 photos, what are they? Are they all selfies? Okay, maybe switch it up. Are they all workout photos? Maybe switch it up. Have a bit of diversity in your first 6. That's what I always look for. And sometimes we're like, ooh, I did like 2 mirrored photos back to back. Okay, maybe I need to put in a food photo this morning. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm posting a food photo this morning because I feel like, oh, I haven't posted that since, my last 7th post. Okay, it's time. So really be your own critic, or ask a friend in the business to do that for you and say, hey, like, go look at my Instagram profile. What are your thoughts? And they'll be like, yeah, it looks bomb, like amazing. But like, you haven't posted on your story in 2 days. Like there's nothing there. So it's nice having someone to look at that for you. And don't feel like you're copying someone or you're, stealing an idea. You guys, it's social media. That's how this works. I will literally see Jen do something and I'll be like, smart, doing it. Like I'm never going to be like, we have a totally different audience. We have totally different people that follow us. We don't have to worry about that. But you do need to get creative and you do need to try new things. You can't have the excuse of like, well, like it's all been done before and I'm not creative. No, you have, the ability to see what other people are doing and implement your own, right? So make it your own. And then I think there was a question underneath, Jen. What did it say? What are your thoughts on business accounts? Obviously not one that says Beachbody Coach, but I've seen ones with titles like Health and Beauty Coach. Yeah, I have that too. Mine says Health and Beauty, and I actually don't know how that got there because I don't feel like I would have chosen that. But I think maybe when you set up a new Instagram account, you do have a choice. But you can put whatever you want. I just personally don't put Beachbody Coach. Not that I'm not proud, because I talk about it a ton in my posts and in my stories, but I just like to create curiosity. That's just a marketing tactic for me.
I think it's linked to whatever your Facebook like page is, because that's how you can make a business page. So I don't even know. I made my like page forever ago and I don't even know what I was doing when I set it up. So that's just kind of what mine is. And I probably don't even know how to change it now, but that's where it is. So if you don't have a like page, it'll ask you when you're creating it. I think it'll give you those options, because I did want to change it to coach, but honestly I don't even know how at this point. So public figure is fine, and I'm definitely not really a public figure, but whatever. Again, curiosity. They're like, oh, this girl thinks she's a big deal. So yeah, you can really put whatever. Another question was about hashtags. Not overusing hashtags so it looks like spam. I'm trying to research this because it has been a topic that I've looked up, because if you're using too many, then apparently you can get shadow banned, is what it's called, and then not show up on any hashtags. And I've been trying to look for mine, and I feel like that happened to me. So I've been trying to use kind of less hashtags, like 10 instead of 30, and trying to make them more specific. But I'm going to look into that, and I'll try and post in our page about it. But I think if you use like 15, at least I would use at least 15 hashtags, and just try and make them more specific. So not like general, like FitFam, which I use all the time, but I should probably change it to something more specific. Or like Woman Crush Wednesday, or like ones that are super used a lot, then I think it goes to spam if that's one that you're using every single time. So try and make yours more specific to you. So I need to sit down and do that myself.
Does anyone, I just want to see a show of hands here. Who is going to be like, who feels like they need to implement some changes to their Instagram? Okay, well, that's a good thing. I'm glad that this was beneficial, because it's good to have these conversations. And I hate having, team calls about things. It's like, yeah, we know that, or yeah, like, get it, but it's nice because this is very relevant and this is practical to apply to your business. So if you guys have tips or questions, now is a really good time before the call ends. You can unmute yourself if you want to. And I know for me, like sometimes I forget about Facebook other than for my groups. Like I don't even have like a drive to post there anymore. I still do because I know it's important, but I just know how many more people I'm reaching on Instagram. So I feel like it's way more worth my time. And usually what I'll do is I'll just copy and paste something that I posted on Instagram to Facebook, and it takes no time at all. But I don't spend a ton of time because I don't get nearly as many people engaging on my stuff on Facebook as I used to. So it's just a smart business move. It's like, well, I'm not going to focus all my energy on this dead horse, right? You know, Nicole, let's see. I'm still not a public profile on Instagram because I struggle with posting pics of my son on a public profile, which other mamas do. I know a lot of my coach friends that have kids, they don't use their kid's name. They use like a nickname that they have for their kid. They also don't like tag their locations. They don't say anything about where they go to school, what teams they play on, you know, that sort of thing. But also you can just post them, you know, working out and stuff. That's fun. But don't post about like, I don't know, if you don't want to post them in the tub, obviously don't post them in the tub, but don't tag like locations and specifics of where they spend their time.
I guess like, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
I guess like for me, I had this realization that like with Instagram, like there's like millions of people on there. So I always thought, oh, like all these people are going to flood to me. So like for a while I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to use a bunch of like hashtags, and then people are going to be like coming in crowds and, you know, buying like challenge packs and everything. But that's like, I guess more like reactive. Whereas like a person has to be proactive and like actually take the time, like you said, to like search things out, because it's not like people are always like, people aren't like, oh, what can I buy today? Or like, what can I join? Or is there a community out there for me? Whereas like, that's how we think, or like could be thinking. So I think that where I need to improve on, or like spend most of my time, is like actually actively seeking hashtags out, not just like waiting for people to come to me.
Yeah, that's smart.
Like you were saying, you know, searching people and that kind of thing. So
yeah, and that's the thing. You have to be proactive. You can't expect to like, oh, this was a rock star post, people are going to come in masses. And it's like, no, that's not how it works, right? So you can have the greatest content in the world, but if you're not actively, you know, trying to build your audience, no one will see it.
So then like, okay, you said that you like comment and you like their stuff. Do you keep like a list of people? Because to me, I feel like there's like millions of people out there. So if I'm commenting and liking on like all these people's things, how am I going to keep track of who I've like invested that time and effort into? Or do you literally just like have people that, you know, are on your feed, and then you're just like, oh, hey, like whatever. And you like make a post or comment, and then you hope they reciprocate it, and that's how you know?
So basically with new followers or people I see on my feed, I'll like and comment on their stuff. Usually I'll do like 2 comments and a couple likes, or 3 likes and 2 comments, something like that. And then I usually I don't necessarily keep a list. That's just not who I am. That's not how my brain works. I don't keep a list of everyone that's new in my life. But if I have a worthwhile conversation with someone and they show some interest or ask some questions, you bet their name goes on a list. But I don't like actively message. If I have a new follower or I follow someone, I'm not going to message them. That's just not how I run my business. I'm not like, hey, thanks for following. But if they are watching my stories all the time, or they're, you know, participating in my polls, that's a really concise way to see like, okay, these people are viewing my stuff. This is a good list. And I'll sometimes screenshot it and then spend my next, you know, hour of downtime and message those people and just say, I am so thankful that people like you tune in to watch my stories. If there's any feedback I could get from you, just open dialogue and get them to answer questions. I find that works really well.
That's how you know where to like put your focus, instead of like commenting on a bunch of random things out in Narnia and then like not knowing if like, you know, they're even like engaging in your stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely start with the people who are watching your story, because those are people that are already creeping and interested. I was going to say something else. No, I forget. Oh, it was to Nicole with your son. You can also just block people. Like say a guy follows you and you don't want any guy followers, you can just block them. Like you should see my block list on Facebook. If some guy adds me, there's a 99% chance that I block them. Like just block and delete, because I don't really want guy followers, and I don't really want guys in our challenge groups. Guys are fine in our challenge group, but it's not like my target audience. So use that block button and just block people that you don't want on your social media. And I know especially when you first start growing your Instagram, sometimes there's like, it's really like bots and like spam that's commenting a lot of times. It's like, nice pic, thumbs up. But you can block all those people, block and delete. That's what I do all the time. So don't be scared to use that block button, or if somebody says something rude on your comment or on your picture, or you just get a bad vibe, block and delete. That's the great thing about social media. Just use that block and delete. If you are like, I can't have that vibe in my life, just block and delete so that they don't see your stuff anymore. And that's obviously not your person, not your tribe. So use that button if you have to. But I think we could wrap up here. Make sure you guys take action today. It's Sunday, so it honestly does not take long at all, but it's so worth it to update your page and just kind of have it look really pretty and nice, and you'll know that you put in that effort towards your Instagram. And it takes time to grow it, but you definitely will. It's been like 4 years. I started with I started Instagram when I became a coach. So I literally started at 0 followers, and I just put work into it. It takes time, it takes effort to grow it, but you can totally do it. And I really think now is the time. If you've been putting it off and you're like, oh, I need to start an Instagram, oh, I need to dive into Instagram, now is the time to really dive into it, because it's just getting bigger and bigger. And I really think it's going to surpass Facebook by far, and it's going to be the place to be to grow your business. So thank you so much, you guys, for jumping on. Kirsten, do you have anything to add?
No, that's it. Take action. Honestly, you can spend your whole coaching career thinking about cool things to do for your business, but if you don't take action and make some mistakes and try new things, you'll never grow. So get out there and just do it.
See you guys. Have an awesome Sunday.